Waver, away!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Critscast. We've seen 5 weeks of action in the Season 24 Highlander ETF2L, and before the playoffs, main season is going to conclude today. We've got inVision versus SDCK battling out on steel.
And we've got a bang of a match, two of the best teams in Europe, obviously. If we bring up the tables, we've got SDCK are currently topping the tables, and inVision are currently in second. So very, very much a top of the table clash.
Catches on every social media imaginable, at least ones that everyone checks, maybe not MySpace.
But yeah, check us out where you can. We got the VODs, we got these streams. The result today, perhaps not particularly important because both of these teams will get through to playoffs coming up in the next couple of weeks. But if inVision do take all 6 points, they will top the table and they will get the first seed.
If SDCK manage to win just one of the maps here, that means that they are guaranteed the top seed, even if it does go to 3 maps. And at that point, we'll be playing for Pride. It's going to be a good test to see if sort of SDCK with a slightly adjusted roster can sort of appear to be mortal going into playoffs, which is ultimately what this is all about. So we are actually seeing on the side of SDCK a couple of roster changes for today's game, Dave. What's all that about?
Yeah, so Gedu's not playing today on the medic, so they've got Spray in for him. He's technically a merc, but then you've also got Delt on the pyro. He's been playing for Samsung Galaxy Cam this season, so he's a good player to bring in. But I am reliably informed by certain players that if SDCK don't have Yahoo, they're very, very beatable. So we'll see if that happens to be the case.
But I'm sure Delt will look pretty comfortable amongst this. Perhaps take a little while to adjust to the culture, but still, it's going to be a bit of a gauntlet to adjust to, particularly on a slightly unfamiliar team for him. So we'll have to see sort of how it pans out. But I'm hoping to see a ready up soon enough of these two teams go hard and fast, go for the AE, or they will just want to take the solid points. But I'm sure they'll leave it all to the surprise of both us and the enemy team as we trundle through this potential best of 3 here.
It really showcases the best that Highlander has to offer in terms of strategical play, aggression, team play, just everything you want out of Highlander. A lot of the different classes that are less powerful on other maps get to real showcase, even if it's just a pyro air blasting someone into a pit. Always fun to see, always great to spectate, and you've got to be on your game from the first minute to the last because it can just be over within 10 seconds.
Certainly so. It's a really flippant one, and it certainly does break the mold of what you're used to seeing. So if we quickly just give a little rundown of these rosters, I'll go through inVision first, and we'll cast over today for SDCK. So on the scout, it's going to be Utka, KWQ on the soldier, Tercio Pyro. Their man is going to be Stan from Poland, of course, as are all these players. Barth is on heavy, Asux on engineer, Zio, also known as unpronounceable Polish name, on medic, Stinghand sniper, and Jerkus on the spy class. Who are we seeing out of SDCK?
So we've got May and Jackie Legs on the flank, Delt the Merc Pyro, Murphy on demo, Poker on heavy, Clark is engineer as always, Sprayer coming in as medic, Redlex on sniper, and Mezzo, the talisman of the spy.
Yeah, a very sort of typical setup for for inVision, not opting to plan anyone on A, just a little bit of spy to get the intel, see what the crack is, see what's going on, and prepare for the sort of powerful B hold that they hope to run here.
Yeah, the first thing I'm seeing that's interesting is Stan is decided to sit up top in this concrete area to help his heavy out. Obviously, we saw in the grand final last season how effective May was using the bonk.
Oh, there we go. There we go, that's the effectiveness, just comes straight out there. Stan manages to pick up 3 members of the combat, including that all-important drop onto Sprayer. A lesson learned very early in this game for SDCK, but again, very early doors. Of course, you do have the credit of sort of the really sort of rapid spawn waves on the offense, and we should be seeing that soon enough. The players up in 2 seconds as we see the unpause of May getting picked off by Stinghan as well. Now just 1 player down for SDCK, and they're ready for another sort of crack at the egg, but it looks like instead they're actually opting for an AE push to try and sort of unstick inVision here.
Yeah, obviously when you're down that over advantage, it makes sense to just rotate, push a different angle. You don't have to worry as much about that Uber coming out straight away.
May take back so slow.
little bit of cap time. Delt is quite aggressive already, but will get picked up, and an air blast is going to knock Poker right down into the bottom of that bit.
Yeah, they sort of went really far through. Murphy managed to get an excellent amount of space in Beck, but burnt out to the detonator of Tercio there, so it's a bit of a fail there. They are trying to get the gun set up, but they're just being flushed out of this D point now. Clark gonna have to retreat with the rest of his team as well. They have still got their medic there in Sprayer, so just gonna be a bit of a melee. Without heals, Murphy trying to take a little bit of space on B, but gets picked off by a headshot from Stinghan, and a couple spawners that they're allowing plenty of time. Oh, but we actually do see the force coming out.
Yeah, Spray got really isolated there. Only had the NG Clark with him. I don't know if that was perhaps a player dropping because of the pause, but he did get a crucial Uber saw in. I don't think he had the he would have got the Uber up anyway after dropping like immediately, as we saw. Gets a crucial Uber saw into the scout hooker that was chasing them down. Does manage to keep himself alive, but these heals are really not doing anything. He's just running back with May. They're getting no pressure on E really. Just a couple buildings up from Clark, but no pressure coming down cap-wise on either point.
Yeah, Barthis does get picked off, and they've not got any teleporter in that concrete area now, so this might be sort of the mounting of an SDCK push with the 3 players down, but it's taken a long time for them to get in this position. A6's gun has been picked off. Stinghan sat in the backlines trying to get what he can, so he does walk into the sight line, but ultimately comes good there. So SDCK now really sort of got their stronghold on this second, but we do see the Uber coming out. Poker taking a huge amount of damage and getting picked off by the Pyro. Delt's trying to deny the remainder of it. It looks like he's done it with a good degree of success, but Jerkus comes in behind and manages to backstab Sprayer, so SDCK's Uber advantage completely invalidated there, but they have got that cap pressure. Barthis and Asux trying to do what they can. They've got Stan as well there. Barthis just throwing himself at the point. May doing what they can with a Mezzo. It looks like they are going to get it barely. And inVision just come in and sort of do the full wipe. SDCK going to have to really heavily rely on these sort of forward spawners.
Yeah, Mezzo has picked up Sting there. This is always a bit funny, like trying to hold this B point with a few players is risky. Poker is coming in behind for a big flank, getting a lot of damage down onto both the medic and the pyro, but doesn't clean up either frag there. Does pick up A6, the engineer, so SDCK are tail between their legs, running all the way back to spawn. Vision running all the way back to spawn. Uber comes out, but pitted there brilliantly by Delt. That Uber does not do anything for you if you are falling into a pit.
Certainly not. There's only a certain stretch that invulnerability can go. They are applying a bit of cap pressure to E. A 3-minute 38 time on B is really not what you want to be looking at down the barrel at, but I'm sure SDCK can recover. Picking up a lot of those frags on inVision, certainly going to help that. But we actually see Oko coming in behind Luffy, and he actually gets 2 piped. This tries to slip into him on that C point as they're just looking to cap it out. Sprayer now up, full Uber charge advantage, some pressure on E as well. They could be putting it in a sort of closing out position, but the nature of steel, it could go either way still.
Clark's got this weird little mini sentry on the D point. Eventually is cleaned up, but it is a nice little instruction. There's no gun up here with A6 going down once more, so no gun up in the heaven area. inVision aren't really sure exactly where they want to hold. They're milling around this kind of DE connector, and Stan is going to get picked up by Redlix as well. Utka going down by Poker, who was just hiding in the white room. A lot of pressure suddenly down onto Fishka. He's having to 1v1 with Mezzo, but Mezzo is going to win that. And really, classes not traditional DM classes coming in. And in fact, an Uber is going to come out. It's going to be used to Uber Mezzo. He's going to get a backstab during that Uber. It's almost, I think it was briefly a complete wipe for inVision there. They just have 2 players up. The cap is going to come in very, very cleanly for SDCK here. Just a couple of seconds, but the players are barely even able to leave spawn.
Yeah, completely penned in there. As soon as SDCK got that C cap across the line, they got that full Uber charge. It was sort of free reign for them. The bridge extended across. They could afford to play in that heaven area and just completely deny inVision. And of course, the individuals as well were sort of domineering those 1v1s and managed to close that out really quite cleanly.
They were just lacking like main cores or just some kind of certainty in their team play. They weren't sure whether they wanted to hold in the heaven area, the esport, because they didn't have that gun up. They weren't sure whether they wanted to back up to D and wait for a couple more spawns, and they got caught out. Poker was just completely unseen in that white room for a long time, and he ends up being like instrumental to completely wiping the team, just walking in from that white room.
Yeah, we did see that, and it's going to have to be a lesson learned here if they want a shot at that first seed. Of course, if they lose just one of these maps, it's going to nullify their chances, and they'll just be playing for sport at that point. So SDCK have to hold this for 5 minutes 20 seconds. It's certainly not going to be too tall of an order based on previous performance, but we'll have to see inVision's approach.
Yeah, I mean 5 minutes 20 seconds isn't too daunting a time. We've seen times get faster and faster on this steel map as kind of the metagame has developed, particularly at this top level. So, you know, it's reasonably quick, but the time that inVision got off those first couple of points is very, very good for them. And, you know, they won't be daunted by this time by any means. We're just seeing easy cap for inVision, and they're actually going to rotate a lot of their players around towards E, and they've even picked up the crit screen on Fishka.
Yeah, it was quite interesting last time around when SDCK looked to play AE. inVision were really, really slow on their defense, so I'm going to hope that they don't sort of replicate that mistake. They nearly did get caught out in that back area, but Jackie Legs and May doing seemingly a good job. And Mezzo coming in, managed to get Barthes as well. It's certainly going to complicate matters. Managing to drop Zia with the revolver as well. That's a huge opening. That's some player of the season shit right there, as managing to wipe the combo of inVision Jerkers, getting Murphy, which is going to complicate the hold of SDCK as they try and control the chaos inVision has invoked there, but ultimately resulting in just another B hold from them.
Yeah, I mean, the force did come out. I don't know if the crits was indeed popped onto Stan or not, but there's not going to be much of an Uber advantage coming out for SDCK. Fishka's gone onto the Medigun now, so it's very, very much even Ubers, but really inVision, they don't have that much time, so they do have to go dry. I don't really see much happening for
Mezzo.
The flank is kind of getting behind the Mezzo.
Both up. Yeah. A bit of a lapse in comms there. inVision have managed to control this concrete area, which is really sort of crucial for slowly taking these points. The gun is sapped as well, but no external pressures being applied. Engineer has been swept away, so that gun will go down, and the Uber is actually popped out here by SDCK. They're going as deep as they can, but the spawn there, how deep the man go?
Yeah, so no gun, and crucially no teleport up top as well either for SDCK. So, you know, inVision, you know, they can play off these very, very fast spawn times that they have. Conch is going to come in from Jackie Legs, but there's not too much pressure from inVision through either of the entrances. I'd like to see them get a few more players up top. At the moment, they're only really pressuring that one entrance. Tercio with a nice reflects Jackie Legs rocket straight into May, picks up that front. Jackie Legs down as well, down to Stan.
KWQ bombs in, it gets a 2 rocket onto Sprayer. That's going to make things a lot easier for inVision there. 75% Uber charge now. Gun really passive, just level 1. The only factor they got to worry about here is Redlix. He is hunting, he is in pursuit of biggest frag he can possibly get, but it looks like they sort of counted their chickens. They see 220 on the board and elect to back out and just get some solid holds elsewhere as inVision lock out that B point now.
Yeah, Sprayer deciding whether or not to run the gauntlet that Fishka suffered earlier, decides better against it, going to rotate all the way through the despawn onto E now up in heaven. Looks like they're not going to put too much contesting on to see. Just see Poker and May running around. In fact, it's going to be a scout 1v1 that Poker ends up ruining. He's going to pick up crucial frags, so they're delaying the C spawn here for SDCK. They've had to rotate a full combo over for inVision, but the time is ticking down. It's now just a minute and a half, and the C point is only just going down now.
Yeah, you can see inVision are sort of aware of the time pressure they're staring it down the barrel at. Stan's even pulled up on the Quicker Bomb launcher, and interestingly enough, Utka's opted for the Babyface's blaster, which honestly I respect, but CCAP has now been closed out. SDCK all set up in this heaven area. The bridge is extending across in light of that CCAP, so gonna have to have a little bit of an attempt to crack this SDCK defense, but they actually managed to get forced in this back area.
Yeah, it was an Uber advantage for quite a while now, but Sprayer is coming up to that 100%. All the players for SDCK stacked up in heaven, don't just denying as best as can. Stingan wins a crucial sniper 1v1. Now we see aggression from KWQ, getting the force. They didn't take too much damage there, perhaps a little bit of a pussy bop, but the frags are mostly in SDCK's favour. Clark is going to be able to rebuild that sentry gun up to level 1, and there's really nothing doing so far for inVision.
Oh, Yeah, Zio walks in on his own, 30 HP now. If my memory serves, I believe it's a 38-second cap with ×3 on this E point. So with the sort of length of time it's taken for inVision to actually get on here, I don't think it's mathematically possible anymore, Dave, as much as we'd love to say it is.
I think it is just about, but they have to actually stack it with more than 3 players. It's going to have to be a ×4, ×5. It does go slightly faster, but they're really against it. It's 13 seconds ×6. This is going to go down to the why they've actually wiped SDCK. Is it going to come in? ×7, ×8. It's 3 seconds. Delta's trying to block it, but they do get the cap down. It was just about possible, and inVision take the first round.
Well, I'm going to have to eat my hat after that one. That was nths of a second. That was so painfully tight. inVision one step closer to that top seed, showing sort of what they could bring to the table in playoffs. That's a phenomenal performance, and SDCK, they must have really slipped up there. They need to win 6-0 in order to net themselves that top seed and potentially have a skip in playoffs. Have they announced the playoff structure just yet?
It'd be single elim as it normally is. It will be the third place will take on the second in a semi-final, and then the top seed will go straight through to the grand final to play the winner of the semi-final. That'll be coming up, in the next 2 weeks, so the end of June and potentially into the first week of July. So definitely check that out on this channel and on YouTube.
Of course, if you can't beat SDCK with, I guess, a justifiably powered down roster, it could sort of spell danger. So inVision making a big statement in taking this first map off them as we roll into the second. 30 seconds left in this setup time. Again, a very conventional setup. Nothing too funky going on. It looks like SDCK might opt for running absolutely nobody on the A, not even the spy to spot. But time will tell, I suppose, as we just trundle, wait for SDCK to get their defenses set up and inVision to scratch their heads and see what the approach is going to be.
Yeah, I think it seems to have shifted. It's not worth taking the spy onto the A and losing the comms. The spy is often these days playing very, very passive in this white room. He can just call these crit stickies. You can see that Murphy has set up several crit stickies in this white room area. Mezzo just playing around the A door, actually. I don't know if he
did get burned through the door there, I should point out. So I think they know that that's where he is in waiting. Jackie Legs has let them know in the chat for Tercio to chill out a little bit. So a lot of it stacked onto A from inVision so far. Just QQ on B as it stands, potentially light of a AE sort of fake out here.
Stick going for the drop down play, but instantly gets piped down by Murphy. I didn't see exactly if he got a clean shot onto Sprayer or he missed, but it certainly didn't get the drop that he was looking for. See, a couple of players on the inVision side are going to be rotating through onto E. They've navigated those crit stickies successfully. Barthis is the one responsible for locking down the spawn area.
Stan goes down.
Oh, the Uber is going to come in. Fishka's nowhere to use it on. He's having to stay right in the corner to not get blasted into the pit. Eventually it backs up. Now flashes a little bit of the Uber onto Barthis, but doesn't get any aggression going whatsoever. It's actually a teleporter here up on the C point, but what do you think they're going to attempt to do here, Meer?
I know, it's quite interesting. It looked like they had a bit of game plan in mind. They sent Sam behind in Beck, but he got picked off by the sniper and the soldier, so we're able to do an awful lot. But this opens up a great opportunity for them to sort of keep rolling their flanks on and keep that E pressure constantly applied until SDCK sort of to take it down. But they have actually got 4 players there. It's the Pyro, it's the Spy, and they completely chunk. Jackie Legs with the reflex, QQ bombs in with the conch, does what he can, the buff banner rather. Zap comes out, but ultimately not going to be good. A really good attempt, but in the backlines, Utka has managed to get 50% of that cap. He's running a few circles around May, being a bit of a nuisance, and sort of not allowing to SDCK to get comfortable on this B point, saying that there are other things to worry about.
Yeah, just a little bit of mixed ideas there. I think they did go in for a little nice attempt at a sack with the banner, but Spray wasn't even quite at that Uber, so they were never going to force that Uber. They had to get 150 damage onto Sprayer to get the frag. Fishka's only just coming up to the point now, but you can see how many players inVision have been able to get in behind using that teleporter that A6 has built up on that C point, putting a lot of pressure down into this banana area. Not too much cap time coming out, but SDCK have to be wary of the potential of, you know, a snowball happening if they break this banana hold.
Yeah, this is a really sort of tricky one. Delt has taken the Uber on the side of SDCK, so inVision gonna have to hold their horses just a little bit. They don't want to fall victim to another pit Uber. Really interesting. This is a really sort of large time commitment for inVision on this offense to no real reward just yet. It's a real high-risk sort of strategy for them to go for. But they have got all of their combo in Beck now, but again, Jackie Legs causing a real nuisance, just completely poking them every single time they want to tickle that point. They have got their medic there, currently sat on 50%, but how are they going to close this out, Dave?
They've got to get some cap time, but Meso picking up Utka is going to make it very, very difficult. Tercio getting pitted as well. I think that was Redlinks with the body shot onto him. So absolutely no cap time coming down on the side of inVision. Sprayer does get picked up though. Stinger with a nice snipe getting very, very aggressive in this connector area. Picks up the medic. So there's going to be no heals for a while. But yeah, really inVision. Not sure exactly where they want to take it though. In fact, opted to push pressure B now.
Yeah, they have lost 6 of their players now, so this B should pretty solid, but Delt manages to force Stan there and Zio, so going to be able to lock out that B point, but they committed so much for that E time. I'm intrigued to see what number's going to be posted once this eventually goes over the line, but I can't imagine it's going to be pretty. That was a big time waste in E.
Yeah, they do, though, no, they obviously 4.5 minutes, so, you know, already looking a questionable time. We do see, they did have eyes on the SDCK players, they could see all of them rotating through the white room, so they know there wasn't going to be too much contesting on this C point. In fact, inVision have decided to bring everyone to siege just to make sure they lock it down. They've got the level 2 sentry, they've got all the bluffed combo members up. They have a very, very slight Uber advantage, but I think it's going to be almost impossible to really make anything of unless Sprayer builds very, very poorly for the next kind of few seconds. Mezzo picks up Stinger as well. Oh, and Redlix picks up Stan, and the Uber is used out onto a heavy who cannot even get across the point.
Yeah, just managing to get a sentry gun for their efforts, and all those players from SDCK coming out of the spawn, making Redlix that little bit of room, manages to pick off Utka, so essential for this cap. KWQ is in the upper area as well. He has control of Heaven. Uber does come out of SDCK. Murphy doing what he can. Looks like he wants to try and get Zia into the pit. Sandy getting picked off by Redlinks as well. That is yet another pit death coming out of inVision, but 5 players down, including some really crucial ones for SDCK. If inVision can position themselves here, they could close this out.
Yep, KWQ doing so much work. You know, despite how cringe of an Uber that was, he just jumped up into heaven as the players backed up into the spawn on SDCK's side and just rained damage down upon picking up all the players that weren't Ubered on the SDCK players. Beautifully comboed as well with the respawning Stan coming in for a lot of damage as well. So they've got a lot of cap time now. It's a 5x on the cap. Murphy walks towards the point but can't even take it. And we end up with a 6:04 time.
Yeah, that's 4 minutes slower than I suppose both these teams did in the last map, which I'd say, considering how disastrously that sort of AE attempt went, when they should have or could have been on B, that's a pretty solid recovery for inVision. And again, they've put it in a very realistic time, but perhaps not as fast as you'd anticipate here as they set up their defenses.
Yeah. SDCK will, again, obviously, you know, they won't be feeling too much pressure. This is, you know, a solid time, but not exceptional by any means. It doesn't take any option off the table either as well, you know. Full alphabet push, AE, ABE, any kind of one of those different options is very, very much on the table with 6 minutes. So, you know, SDCK, they won't really be affected at all by that time. They'll just be looking to play their game, execute their strategy, and take it back.
Yeah, I sort of prescribe to the opinion that unless you've got C and that bridge is extended across, closing out E has got to be a real masterpiece of coordination. And we're seeing just a very sort of standard setup of SDCK, just piling everyone into A, getting that cap over the line. Jackaleg's causing a bit of a ruckus in the upper area, applying a bit of pressure to E, and inVision not cracking it just yet. They are still solidly on this B point, waiting for SDCK to make their move. Jerkus to sort of instigate comm, see what SDCK are up to, and then look to sort of to get the show on the road.
All these players are stacked up. There are the crit stickies that they have to navigate that. May is going to walk in with with the bonk. It's decided not to pop them here and start. He did not detonate at any point there, I don't think.
Nope, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, Clark and Poker, not the most important picks you can get, but certainly nothing to moan about as well. They're trying to sort of apply a bit of pressure still in this white Ramutko, getting red licks, of course, really crucial to SDCK. And Stinghan tries to pick off Mezzo as they slip away as well. They've gone drop down. They have Ubered out onto second. It is going to be a trade. Murphy and Delt so far forward here. No gun up on the side of inVision. It should be a pretty favourable post fight as they control this concrete area. So many players from inVision trying to get him, but they are penned in this corner, receiving the spam of Murphy and Jackie Legs. They are currently stacked on that cap, doing as best they can. It's going to have to be a give up here from inVision, as it's going to be a tough one to contest, and they've got to have a bit of a rethink as to how they want to hold this for the remaining 4 minutes 20 seconds.
Yeah, they weren't able to get any position on B after the Ubers were traded out whatsoever. And as you say, they've got to think, are they going to commit to this C hold now? They've taken their full combo out to C, but started already cap time from SDCK on this E point. A6 is completely alone at the moment, and May is able to just spam the level 1 sentry that is going up, down, but May is actually going to get contested by Stan. Uber comes out from SDCK, running into the connector, picks up Stan, going to get a lot of damage down onto Turtle. Fishka only now up at 98%, but he's completely alone. He's going to get sandwiched by several players. It was that Uber saw. That's a crucial Uber saw. Not only the frag onto Jackie Leg, but also being able to pop the Uber out. But he's now Ubering the spine Mezzo. He manages to run all the way out into White Room, picks up the health pack, and throughout all of that, Fish can just somehow survive.
I think that an impressive lesson in manoeuvrability there. inVision are in this white room area. SDCK just want to close out this C. They're not really doing anything to meddle with the E hold just yet. Of course, those bridges are going to extend across, and SDCK have 3 minutes to try and disassemble this. I think it's certainly very doable, but inVision certainly ready to receive, of course, poising themselves in white room, ready to get any rotation they might need.
Oh, it's the Death Corridor gauntlet here from SDCK. So many pipes coming in from Stan, forces the Uber out very, very early. Fishka nowhere near that Uber, but it's not even going to get into the white room. Murphy, the Uber's flashed off him. He's going to get meleeed by Barthis, but actually wins that melee duel himself. They're getting a lot of cap time down on D before Fishka is able to get up to that Uber. They do actually manage to block it, and that is so many frags suddenly in inVision's favour. That's an excellent Uber, an excellent block. Cap time starting to go down onto the E point now, but so many players up for inVision, they are probably going to be able to hold on for at least a little bit here. Oh, I can't hear Meer. Have you muted yourself, my friend? Anyway, we've got a 5x cap onto the point here. A lot of frags coming in on either side, but obviously the spawn's very, very much in SDCK's favour. May actually hiding behind a dispenser, just capping it all the way here, and SDCK are going to take the round, and they're going to take that first seed.
Apologies for that, yeah. May opting for the the dispenser armor set up by Clark on that E point.
Despite the fact that this third and final round is going to be very, very much a dead rubber, both of these teams decide it's super, super important that they play this irrelevant final round. It's steel, so it's always exciting to watch.
In the meantime, we are waiting for a bit of a ready up. You can check out our socials. We're, of course, here on twitch.tv/critscast. Check us out on YouTube for all of these VODs.
But this is going to be the final round in this best of 3. It's SDCK versus inVision. It's 1-1. We've already decided the playoff spots here, but the winner of this takes the simply the bragging rights, going into, a potential grand final.
Yeah,
inVision
playing for glory, yes.
Yeah, inVision will have to get through Failer in that semi-final, but let's see if they can take this round of SDCK.
Yeah, SDCK, they can have a week off. We all know they hate scrimming, so they can have a little bit of a buy and chill, waiting for the grand finals. The standings are fully decided, as Dave said. SDCK first, inVision second, and it is going to be Failer picking up the third playoff spot. So 10 seconds left in this warm-up. Defending first is going to be Team inVision. Nothing too obtuse thus far. They are playing for glory and glory alone as SDCK start their push into A.
Yeah, looks like they're just going to flood all of their players out there. Murphy's just going to lock down the spot. I mean, I think it's been about 5 years since I've seen anyone actually peek out of that A spawn and contest the A point, but maybe in this kind of potential memeing round we could see some a little interesting coming out. But as of now, very, very standard. A couple of players positioning to maybe peak drop down, but it's a lot of the SDCK's team is posturing on the A side, trying to walk through this white room.
Yeah, it looks like Stan's really posturing an AE rotate. They're really hoping that SDCK do. He's really carpeted the entirety of the run to Beck. His mate is sort of clearing it as best he can, but it's not going to come good today. Murphy in poker going down. SDCK going to push into second anyway. The gun is ready to receive them in drop. Delt and Jackie Lake take the Uber forward. Gun goes down. Trade coming out of inVision. Tercio comes forward, quote unquote, into Delt, but they have got that level 3 set up in drop down. Manages to get picked off. You see the engineer making his way back to the spawn point as well. KWQ applying huge pressure in this stair area, and it's just going to be a bit of a melee, but ultimately going to reset for SDCK.
Yeah, I think Mezzo forgot his disguise or something in that previous push, wasn't able to get the sap in, but has now picked up Stan with a back sub. He doesn't miss a beat. If he makes one misplay, he's just going to come in with a huge play in return. We now see that awful bonk that is coming in and going to pressure Bath is all the way out the upper area. Lots of players flooding in from the concrete itself. Redlick's just trying to get some kind of snipe going. inVision have actually done a very, very good job of just kiting back far enough that SDCK can't even walk in here, and Clark is in fact going to get picked up in the main area as well.
Yeah, we see Bath is in a really good pause as well. In spite of not being on concrete, is going to be able to do a solid shift of applying some damage to them if he needs to. They're keeping Stan nice and healthy. They know how important he's going to be for denying that space. Just May on that E point, so should be cleaned up reasonably soon enough. No teleporter, no flank in sight. Jackie Legs also painfully weak on this B point. Poker trying to make a little bit of room as well. Just 2 players down on the side inVision. It is going to be an Uber trade. Murphy charges forward in isolation. Manages to get the gun down in conjunction with Poker. KWQ bombs forward. SDCK taking an awful lot of room. Managing to get the soldier painfully weak. Does get a nice arrow there from Zio. And it might be enough for SDCK to close this out. Mezzo goes very, very weak. They've just got a level 1 gun up. They need to take this space. They need to start applying pressure to that cap, but Barthis is up in that window, and inVision is so weak here.
Yeah, Redlick's also a nice snipe onto Tercio, so I don't think inVision really have any option to seriously contest. They had no position. They were stuck in the corner again, as we saw in the previous round. So it's going to be fairly easy in the end for SDCK to take this B point fairly comfortably, and there's not really enough players up here. Just Barthis is actually going to melt Dope as he was walking through that. That was very, very risky. They walked into the connector as the Pyro walks in from the blue side of the SDCK. Fragging is going to come out. Murphy is going to go down to Stan, and the Uber is going to be forced. We see Stan flying around in the air, drops down to lower. There's no health back though for him, so he's stuck with a very, very low amount of health into lower as SDCK move on into this C area, but it's going to be blocked with an Uber onto the Bootis.
Oh, inVision, the soldier walks out with Barthis, and they manage to pick up 3 frags themselves, and 2 more. Sprayer Mezzo also going down to that original. Zio tries to get on Poker, stands still, ready to receive his fate. And Jackie Legs and Murphy on this point, so painfully weak. Yerkes and Tercio have something to say about it, and that is going to be a failed push for SDCK. I think we are seeing perhaps a slight drop in the quality of play here, David, and I think it might be intentional.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like the DM server that you see in Steel. Thankfully, you know, Soap DM, they eventually fixed those Steel spawns, so you don't spawn in the floor anymore these days. Good job to whoever did that. But yeah, this is a little bit of a Soap DM match going in. SDCK decided they've had enough of trying to push C. They're going to try and get a little bit of cap time potentially down on E, but there's still a level 1 wrangled gun from A6. Took an absolute age to destroy. SDCK, in fact, they're fully penned into this forward spawn area. Sprayer takes so much damage, but Barth is just going to plow forward, gets the force out, but does get pitted.
You love to see it. Delt charges forward, managing to pick up the soldier as well. 5 players down on the side of inVision now. Hopefully it should be enough for them to get on this C cap now. These players have got places to be. Delt charges forward, just stand left alone, but Jackie Legs full HP ready to receive. They are trying to send a few players out into this C-pack now, but Jackie bombs, manages to get Barthis down near instantly. Utka does his best as well, and Tercio and Zio gonna have to back into this white room, ready to rotate as the pressure's applied to E.
Yeah, I think inVision there feeding Jackie Legs his logs, not what you want to see. He doesn't need any help in that regard. But rotation now coming through, Deathguard will stink and go for a very, very risky play, but KWQ picked up in the spawn as well. They navigated that really, really successfully there on the SDCK side. They have a large Uber advantage now as well, and they're getting the cap in for D very, very easily. inVision really not sure what they want to do. This Uber could potentially come in for SDCK to deal with this level 3 that is stuck up in heavily. Fishka.
They didn't get forced, they just Ubered around the corner, just for the shits of it. Gun taking a fair old pepperage of damage, but May and Delt going down to it. A6 doing a solid job there, but does get a headshot by Red Legs, who's going down ultimately to Jackie Legs. 3 players remain on the side inVision, and SDCK want it to be over with. They're just going to try and close it out. Should be sort of a 6.5 minutes or 6:40 minute time.
Barthis was one man against the world, somehow manages to win a 1v1 with Murphy while being literally spawn camped by him. Don't know how that has managed to happen, but obviously with all those frags coming in for SDCK, very, very easy for them to get a lot of cap time. The spy, I think it was, briefly got to the point, was it Unka perhaps? But, you know, way too many players. In fact, a lot of frags have suddenly gone in inVision's favour, but it wasn't enough, just too many players on the cap. And eventually the cap does come in 6:52, slowest time we've seen it, but, you know, not a snail's pace by any means.
No, 6 minutes 50, nothing to be sniffed at based on the quality of play we were witnessing from both sides. So, can imagine SDCK, they want the 5 green numbers on their profile, right? They want the team profile to have all the green numbers. So, reasonably, you'd anticipate they would take this seriously to an extent, and inVision will want to do the same as well and retain their fully green season 24 match page list. So. We'll have to see what the approach is going to be here, whether they baited them out by playing about a little bit, and then they're going to go ultra serious when it's their offense time, or whether they're going to have a similar philosophy.
Yep, potential mind games for inVision. Stinger is a master of those. We're seeing, you know, pretty much the same thing we've seen every round. We're just seeing, you know, heavy up top concrete with their teleporter. Seeing crit stickies set up in the White's room area, probably going to be called out by a spy or a scout, I imagine. I don't see exactly where Mezzo is. I think he's actually lurking around on the A point briefly, but is going to go back into spawn. In fact, back out. They're going to go for a little bit of a block here onto A.
There you go, Dave. You said you hadn't seen it in a couple of years. There you go. There's some peeking out on A. Losing Mezzo pretty early. Jackie Legs does not fancy the 2 versus 1 against Utko and A6, which is pretty reasonable by rights, but inVision not looking to bait anything into AE. They just want to try and raw it into B straight away with the 3 players dead from SDCK. Trying to take this upper area. The teleporter is there, so Poker's going to be able to rotate there pretty easily, but the exit gets destroyed.
Yeah, Barthis destroyed it at the very, very last second. In fact, it may have even been Stam coming in, but Poker was not able to take the teleporter, left out completely alone in the area. Now we see Mezzo lurking, he's going to try and go for something. Fishka was not aware, but all the other blob of players around were. do manage to clean him up. Won't get that medic frag, and still both teams have this 100%. Murphy's going to run out, but is going to die to the fist from Barthis.
Yeah, Uber Trades comes out. A lot of cap time over the line for inVision. It's just going to be... Oh, I don't even know anymore, Dave. I don't even know. inVision, get that B cap over the line. Oh, a lot of cap pressure on E as well. Are they going to try and close out here, or are they going to go for C? It looks like they want the bigger piece of the pie. They want that E cap to inVision.
Did I just see literal pyro tennis there? I think Delt went down to a rocket that he reflected and Tertian reflected back at him. Somehow he died to that. Lots of cap time already for inVision, and the sports are only just coming up for SDCK. 3 exits, very, very close already. Just Poker being the only one in position, but a nice
there we go.
Come onto the point, and inVision take it and take this steel map 4-2.
Force SDCK managing to pick up the top spot. inVision coming second, and Failer getting that third spot. Failer versus inVision going to be the first round of playoffs for this Premiership season, the winner of which will go to fight SDCK in the grand finals.
Yeah, very, very entertaining matches. You often expect to see from Steel. Very, very much lived up to the billing that we gave it. Excellent game. Very, very well played by both teams. Very well contested.
Should we have a little look at these combined logs? Because I'm having a look at the board right now, and I'm seeing a lot of samey here. Stan and Murphy, 32 and 35 frags, just 9 damage difference per minute between them, 400 and 391. You see both medics 10 deaths. So thank you very much for watching. I have been Meer, joined by Dave. We thank you very much for watching. Make sure you check us out on our socials. We're here live all the time with Nations Cup and Highlander action. You can catch us over at YouTube for our VODs, Twitter, Facebook probably, merch probably, everywhere probably. So thank you very much for watching, everyone, and I bid you adieu.
Hi, old beaver! Away!